Ariel stood on the metal walkway of the star dock, her silver eyes glowing with cold anger. Everyone in the station knew her well. She was strong, sharp, and proud, an alien warrior trained from childhood. But she was famous for another thing too. She hated humans with all her heart. She did not hide it. She did not whisper it. She said it loudly whenever she had a chance. Humans are weak, she often told her team. Humans lie. Humans break promises. Humans can't protect anyone. People avoided arguing with her. The fire in her voice was enough to scare anyone. But there was one human she hated the most. Or maybe she hated the way he never reacted to her anger. His name was Ivona, quiet human mechanic who worked in the repair bay. Evan never insulted Ariel back. He never picked a fight. Whenever she shouted at him, he simply nodded, fixed the ship, and walked away. Some aliens laughed at him. Some felt bad for him. Ariel herself couldn't understand why this boring human man annoyed her more than anyone else. Maybe because he stayed calm. Maybe because he never feared her. Or maybe because deep inside she felt something she could not explain. But she buried that feeling. She hated humans, especially Evan. That's what she told herself. The day everything changed started like any other day. The station lights flickered. Workers shouted instructions. Cargo ships landed and left. Evan, as usual, repaired a damaged landing thruster. He wiped sweat from his forehead and looked at Ariel from a distance. She was checking weapons on her ship, preparing for a mission. She ignored him. He ignored her. Just another normal day, until Ariel suddenly stopped moving. Her hand tightened on the control panel. Her breath grew short. A strange pain spread across her stomach. She tried to hide it, but her steps became slow and weak. She reached for the railing, missed it, and collapsed on the floor. Everyone froze. Proud warrior like Ariel never fell. She never showed weakness. Something was terribly wrong. Before anyone else moved, Evan sprinted forward. Move. He shouted, louder than anyone had ever heard him speak. He lifted Ariel off the floor. She was half-conscious, shaking, struggling to breathe. Her fingers clutched his shirt, trying to stay awake. "Stay with me." "Ariel," Evan whispered. His voice was calm, steady, nothing like the chaos around them. He carried her all the way to the medical bay, pushing through the crowd. Nurses rushed to take her inside. The doors closed, leaving Evan outside, breathing hard. Worry written on his face. People stared at him, then at each other. Why did this human care so much? How did he even dare to touch her? Whispers filled the hallway. Inside the med bay, doctors scanned Ariel's body. Strange readings appeared on the screen, numbers higher than they should be. Signals that shocked even the medical team. Her heartbeat was unstable. Her energy level was dropping. But the most shocking part? Something else had a heartbeat too. Something small. Something new. Something alive. The alien doctor checked the scanner again just to be sure. Her hands shook as she whispered to the nurse, "There is another life inside her." The nurse's eyes widened. "A child?" "Yes," the doctor said. "A child." The door opened and the lead doctor stepped outside. Evan took one look at her face and felt his stomach twist. "What happened? Is she okay?" he asked. The doctor hesitated, watching his eyes, searching for the right words. "She is stable for now," the doctor said softly, "but there is something else." The hallway grew silent. "Ariel is pregnant." Everyone gasped. Even Evan stepped back. "But that's not all," the doctor continued. "Her child is half human." The world stopped. Every alien in the hallway stared at Evan as if he had turned into a monster. Some covered their mouths. Some whispered horrible things. Some stared in shock. Ariel, the woman who hated humans, was carrying a half-human child. How? When? Why? None of the answers made sense. Hours passed. Ariel finally opened her eyes. The bright lights of the medbay stung her vision. She tried to sit up, but felt the weight of the pain inside her. What happened? She whispered. The doctor told her everything slowly, carefully, nervously. Ariel froze. Her eyes widened. Her breath stopped. No, she whispered. No, this is impossible. But the medical scans flashed on the screen beside her. A small heartbeat, strong and alive to her child. A child that was half human. She closed her eyes. Her hands trembled. A storm of emotions hit her all at once: fear, confusion, disbelief, anger, shame, and something soft she could not understand. She whispered just one name. Evan. The doctor looked at her. Should I bring him inside? Ariel's heart pounded. She hated humans. She hated him, didn't she? But now, everything she believed, every word she spoke, every promise she made, all of it had shattered. No, she said, voice breaking. Not yet. She wasn't ready to face him. Not now. Not when her own heart had betrayed her, and outside the medbay, Evan waited silent, worried and unaware that his life, and hers, had changed forever. Long before Ariel collapsed in the stardock. Long before the shocking discovery in the medbay, something had already begun between her and the human she claimed to hate. It started quietly, secretly, without any witness, without any warning. Ariel always told others humans were weak. Yet for weeks, she watched Evan from a distance without understanding why. He worked alone in the repair bay, fixing broken ships with calm, steady hands. He didn't talk much. He didn't argue. He didn't show fear, even when dangerous machines sparked near him. One evening, she approached her ship and found Evan repairing a cracked energy coil. She scowled. "You're doing it wrong," she said sharply. Evan didn't look up. "You can file a complaint if you want," he replied softly. His calm tone annoyed her more than any insult. She expected him to panic, or at least defend himself. Instead, he continued work, focused, unforgettable, for the first time. Ariel didn't walk away. She stayed. She watched him finish the repair with precise movements. When he stood up, he wiped his hands and turned toward her. "It's fixed. You're good to go." Ariel opened her mouth to argue, but nothing came out. She simply stared at him, confused by his courage, or maybe his stupidity. That night was the beginning of something she didn't want to admit. A week later, everything changed. Ariel was ordered to inspect a cargo ship rumored to be tampered with. When she boarded the ship, it exploded, not violently, but enough to lock the doors and shut down power. She was trapped inside the hold, breathing thin air. With sparks falling around her, her radio was dead. Her wrist-com didn't work. No. One knew she was inside. She kicked the door, shouted, even tried to break the panels. Nothing worked. Panic crawled into her chest, something she never liked to feel. The air grew thinner and thinner. Minutes felt like hours. Just when she began losing strength, she heard banging from the other side. "Ariel, step back." Evan's voice. Her heart jumped. The metal door glowed as someone on the outside used a plasma cutter. She heard Evan coughing because of the smoke, but he didn't stop. He cut through the lock, grabbed the door, and pulled it open with burning hands. Light rushed in, and Evan stood there sweaty, coughing, but alive. He reached out his hand. "Come on, you're safe now." Ariel stared at his hand. Her pride told her to refuse it, but her chest burned from lack of air, and her legs shook. She placed her hand in his. He pulled her out gently, like she was fragile. She hated that feeling, but she also Evan wrapped his jacket around her shoulders without asking. She wanted to push it away, yet she held it tighter. "Why did you come?" she whispered, voice weak. "No one else heard the alarms," he replied. "But I saw smoke. I thought, maybe you needed help." She blinked. He came for her. Risked his life for her, a human. Her thoughts twisted in confusion. She wanted to yell at him, insult him, push him away. But the words wouldn't come. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel hatred toward a human. She felt safe. After that day, something strange happened. Ariel started avoiding Evan, but she also watched him more. Every time he passed her, she pretended she didn't see. Every time he fixed her ship, she acted like he annoyed her. But late at night, she found herself standing near the repair bay, pretending to inspect equipment just to see if he was there. One night, Evan noticed. "You keep walking past," he said softly. "Are you looking for someone?" She froze. "No," she snapped. "I was just checking security." Evan smiled a small, sad smile. "You don't have to lie, Ariel." Her chest tightened. No one ever called her out like that. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You think I came here for you?" Evan looked at her gently. "I don't know why you came, but you're here." Ariel didn't know what to say. Her claws pressed against her gloves, her heart beating fast. She should have left. She should have yelled. But she stayed. And for the first time, she whispered the truth she couldn't admit even to herself. "Humans confuse me." Evan didn't laugh. He didn't mock her. Instead, he said, "I understand. Aliens confuse me too." She stared at him and laughed just a little. Soft, short, surprised. A sound she never made around humans. That tiny laugh became a secret. A moment only they shared. A moment that would one day grow into something much bigger. Something forbidden. Something powerful. A bond. A bond she would soon deny. A bond she would hide. A bond that would bring her to the medbay weeks later, carrying a child she never expected. After the night, Ariel admitted that humans confused her. Things between her and Evan began to change in small, quiet ways. They didn't talk much, but their eyes met more often. They didn't walk together, yet somehow their paths crossed every day. No one noticed it not yet, but something was growing between them. Ariel still told herself she hated humans. She repeated the same words in her mind every morning. Humans lie. Humans are weak. Humans cannot be trusted. But every time she said those words, the image of Evan's calm face appeared in her mind, and her chest tightened. She hated that feeling. One cold evening, the station lights flickered again, this time more violently. Engineers shouted, alarms rang through the metal halls, and Ariel rushed toward the lower mining tunnels, where a small group of workers were. Trapped, Evan was already there. He held a scanner in one hand and a toolkit in the other. When Ariel arrived, he looked up at her, breathless but still calm. "You came alone?" she asked. "You came alone too," he replied. She didn't argue. The two entered the tunnel together. The air inside was thick with dust. The ground vibrated with every distant explosion. Ariel used her enhanced vision to scan for survivors, while Evan checked electrical panels. They found the workers quickly and guided them out. But on their way back, the tunnel shook violently. The ceiling cracked. A metal beam broke free. Evan shouted, "Ariel, move." Before she could react, he pushed her aside. The beam struck the floor where she had been standing. Dust exploded around them. The entrance collapsed, and both of them were trapped. Silence swallowed the tunnel. Only small particles of dust floated in the air, glowing under the emergency lights. Ariel coughed, covering her mouth. Evan lay beside her, trying to catch his breath. "You pushed me," she said softly, confused. "You were about to get crushed," Evan replied. Ariel stared at him. Her voice felt shaky. "You could have died." Evan smiled weakly. "Better me than you." Her heart skipped. "Better me than you." Humans never said things like that. Not to her. Not to any alien. The station above them was trying to restore power, but inside the tunnel, the air was becoming thin. Ariel's warrior training taught her how to stay calm, even in danger. But something about being trapped with this human made her chest feel heavy in a different way. They moved toward the corner where oxygen pipes were still working. Evan sat down, leaning his back against the wall. Ariel slowly sat beside him close, but not too close. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Evan broke the silence. "You're bleeding," he said softly. Arielle looked down. A small cut on her arm dripped dark blue blood. She hadn't noticed. She didn't reply. Evan tore a piece of cloth from his jacket and wrapped it around her wound. "You don't have to do that," she whispered. "I know," he said, "but I want to." Something inside her cracked. For years, she had believed humans cared only about themselves. Yet here was Evan bleeding, coughing, injured and still thinking about her wounds. Not his own. She looked at his shaking hands. "You're hurt more than I am. Why help me?" Evan shrugged gently. "You helped me once too. When my repair pod malfunctioned. You pulled me out before it exploded." Ariel blinked. She remembered that day, but she didn't think it meant anything. "You didn't even say thank you," she recalled. "I did," Evan said with a soft smile. "You just walked away before I finished." For the first time since they met. Ariel laughed quietly short, breathless, almost surprised, but her laughter faded when the tunnel trembled again. A loud crack echoed above them. The emergency lights flickered. Evan checked his scanner. "Oxygen levels are dropping," he said. "We may need to share the mask." Ariel frowned. "I don't want your pity." "It's not pity," Evan said. "It's survival." He took off his oxygen mask and placed it on her face first. Ariel grabbed his wrist. "No, you'll suffocate." But Evan only looked into her eyes with calm certainty. "I'll be fine," he whispered. "Just breathe." Her heart pounded. She didn't understand why, but tears touched the corners of her eyes. Tears she quickly wiped away. Minutes passed. Ariel returned the mask to him. Then, slowly, naturally, they sat closer. Their shoulders touched. Their breaths mixed in the fading light. For the first time in her life, Ariel felt warmth beside a human, not fear, not hatred, not anger. "Warmth?" she whispered. "Why do you care so much?" Evan didn't answer immediately. He looked at her like she was something fragile and strong at the same time. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But I do." Before Ariel could speak, rescue teams burst through the upper wall. Light filled the tunnel. Workers pulled them out one by one. Ariel and Evan were safe. But that night, something deeper than safety had formed a bond neither of them understood yet. A bond that would soon change both their lives forever. After the rescue. Ariel told herself that what happened in the tunnel meant nothing. She convinced her mind that the shared oxygen, the shared fear, the shared warmth, all of it, was just survival. Nothing more. But her heart refused to listen. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Evan pushing her out of danger. She heard his voice telling her to breathe. She felt the way he looked at her, not like an enemy, not like a soldier, but like someone who mattered. It confused her. It scared her. It made her angry. So she did the only thing she knew. She avoided him completely. For days afterward, she pretended Evan didn't exist. When she saw him in the repair bay, she changed direction. When his name appeared on her mission tablet, she requested reassignment. When he entered the cafeteria, she left. But every time she walked away, her heart whispered a question. Why are you running? One evening, Ariel sat alone in the weapons room, sharpening her blade. The metallic sound echoed through the empty hall. She liked this silence here. She didn't have to face confusing feelings. But the quiet ended when the door slid open. Evan stepped inside, holding a small datapad. He froze when he saw her. "Oh," he said softly. "I didn't know you were here." Ariel gripped her blade tighter. "You shouldn't be here." "I just need to update the security logs," Evan replied calmly. She expected him to look away, afraid like other humans. But he walked right past her and placed the datapad on the table. Ariel watched him silently, annoyed at how calm he always was. Finally, she spoke. "You've been following me." Evan blinked. "No, you've been avoiding me." Her chest tightened. He wasn't wrong. She placed her blade down harder than necessary. "You think I'm avoiding you? Don't be foolish." Evan looked at the floor for a moment. Then he spoke with a softness she wasn't ready for. "Ariel, I know something changed in that tunnel. Maybe only for a second. Maybe you don't want to admit it. But I felt it too." Her breath caught in her throat. She stood up, stepping closer, trying to regain control. "Nothing changed," she whispered harshly. "You're a human. I don't trust humans. I never will." Evan looked at her not with disappointment, not with anger, but with understanding. "I know you're afraid," he said gently. Ariel's eyes narrowed. "Afraid? Of a human. Don't insult me." But Evan didn't back away. "I'm not saying you're weak. I'm saying you're protecting yourself." She felt heat rise in her chest. Every instinct in her body wanted to deny his words. But deep inside, a soft part of her whispered, "He sees you." Ariel stepped even closer until only a breath separated them. "Why do you talk like you know me?" she said quietly. Evan's voice was steady. "Because I pay attention." She didn't know what happened next. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way he looked at her. Maybe it was because she was tired of running from a feeling she didn't understand. But in one sudden moment, Ariel leaned forward and kissed him. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't planned. It was sharp, desperate, angry, and confused exactly how her heart felt. Evan froze for a second, shocked. Then he kissed her back, slow and careful. Like he didn't want to hurt her, Ariel pulled away first. Her chest rose and fell quickly. Her hand trembled slightly. Evan looked at her with wide, surprised eyes. She panicked. "No," she whispered. This was a mistake. Evan shook his head softly. "No, it wasn't." But Ariel stepped back, fear rising inside her like a storm. "You don't understand," she said. "My people forbid this. They will call me weak. They will call me a traitor." Evan took one small step forward. "And what do you call it?" Ariel swallowed hard. "I call it impossible." Then she turned and left the room before he could say another word. For the next few days, Ariel drowned herself in work missions, training, patrols. Anything to distract her from the memory of that kiss. But every night, when she tried to sleep, her mind replayed it again and again. His warmth, his breath, his gentle hands, the feelings she denied only tightened. Around her heart, she told herself it meant nothing. But deep inside, she knew she was lying. Something between them had already begun. Something forbidden. Something dangerous. Something powerful. A bond she refused to accept. A bond that would soon create a life she never expected. After the kiss, she regretted and secretly replayed every night Ariel did everything she could to bury her feelings. She trained harder than ever. She took double missions. She stayed out of the repair bay. She avoided every hallway Evan used, but she failed. Every time she passed him from a distance. Her heart reacted before her mind could stop it. Every time their eyes accidentally met, she looked away too quickly. And every time she heard his name, her thoughts froze. She hated that she cared. She hated that he saw her in a way no one else did. And she hated that part of her wanted to see him again. Her people's rules repeated in her. Head every day. Aliens do not bond with humans. Aliens do not form emotional ties with weaker species. Aliens who break this rule are punished. Those words kept Ariel awake at night, because deep inside, she already knew one truth: she had crossed that line the moment she let him touch her lips. A few nights later, the station was strangely quiet. Lights were dim, engines silent, halls empty. Ariel had finished a long mission and was returning to her room when she noticed a flicker of light. Near the repair bay, she should have walked away. She should have ignored it, but her feet moved on there. Evan was sitting alone on a crate, working on a damaged navigation chip. His hands were steady, his face softly lit by the blue glow. He looked tired, but peaceful. Ariel stood in the doorway, watching him for a full minute without speaking. She hated herself for it. Evan finally noticed her reflection in the metal panel and turned. "You're back," he said. Quietly, Ariel's thoughts scrambled. She wanted to say something sharp, something defensive. But instead, she whispered, "I shouldn't be here." Evan put the chip down. "Then why are you here?" Her breath caught. She didn't know, or maybe she knew too well. Ariel stepped inside, each step heavier than the last. She stopped a few feet from him, feeling the weight of everything unsaid between them. Evan stood up slowly. "Ariel," he began, but she cut him off. "Don't say my name like that." "Like what?" "Like I matter." His eyes softened. "You do." Those two words broke something inside her. Ariel turned away, trying to hide the emotion on her face. "You don't understand what this will cost me," she said. "My people will call me weak. They'll call me broken." Evan walked closer, his voice steady and gentle. "I don't care what they call me," he said, "but I care what happens to you." Her throat tightened. This human, this simple mechanic, was willing to face all of it. For her, Ariel's voice dropped into a whisper. "Why do you keep trying to save me?" Evan didn't hesitate. "Because you deserve to be saved." Her breath shook. She turned to him slowly, her eyes unsure, scared, drawn. Evan reached out and brushed a loose strand of silver hair from her face. She didn't stop him. "Don't," she whispered weakly. "Please don't be gentle with me." "Why?" he asked softly. "Because it makes everything harder." Evan's fingers paused on her cheek. "Then let it be hard," he said. That was the moment Ariel's resistance collapsed. She stepped forward. Evan stepped closer. Two worlds that were never meant to meet finally touched. There was no anger this time. No shouting. No confusion, only warmth, only truth. Only the quiet sound of two hearts admitting what their minds refused to say. Ariel kissed him again slow, this time, uncertain but real. Evan held her gently, as if she were something precious instead of the fierce warrior everyone feared. Her hands trembled against his chest. She wasn't used to softness. She wasn't used to being held. But tonight, she let herself want it. They didn't speak for a long time. There were no promises, no explanations, no questions. Only closeness. Only two beings who finally stopped fighting. What they felt. Hours passed like minutes by the time Ariel left the repair bay. Her heart felt heavy with a new truth. She had crossed a line that could never be UNCROSED, and somewhere deep inside her, a new life had begun. She didn't know it yet. She didn't feel it yet. But the choice she made that night, the choice she tried so hard to deny, was already growing into something stronger than her fear. Something that would change everything. Asterisk. The morning after that forbidden night, Ariel stood at the edge of the viewing deck, staring out into the endless stars. Her armor felt heavy on her shoulders. Her heart felt even heavier. She told herself it was a mistake. She told herself it meant nothing. But the truth clung to her skin like warmth she couldn't forget. Evan's touch, his breath, his gentle hands, the way he looked at her like she wasn't a monster, like she was someone worth protecting. She couldn't stay on that station any longer, so she left. A sudden mission arrived from her homeworld, and Ariel accepted it without thinking twice. She didn't tell Evan. She didn't look at him. She didn't say goodbye. She ran. For several weeks, Ariel stayed far from the station. She completed missions, attended meetings, fought battles, anything to keep her body busy and her heart numb. But something was wrong. She woke up one morning feeling dizzy. Another day, she almost collapsed after training. Her stomach felt strange. Her senses were sharper and slower at the same time. Her temper was different. Her mind slipped between fear and softness without reason. She tried to ignore it. She was a warrior. Warriors didn't get sick. But then came the moment she could not deny. Ariel sat in her ship, preparing for launch, when a sudden wave of nausea struck her so hard she dropped to her knees. Her vision blurred. Her heart pounded painfully for the first time in her life. She felt fragile. Her hand rested unconsciously on her stomach, and fear filled her veins like poison. "No," she whispered. "No, it cannot be." But deep inside, she already knew something was growing. Something that did not belong in her world, something half-human, something created on the night. She tried so hard to forget. She felt tears burn in her eyes, silent, unwanted, terrifying. Ariel had never cried in her life. She returned to the station quietly. Late at night, hoping no one would notice, she avoided everyone. She turned off her wrist. Come. She stayed in her quarters, hiding the sickness, hiding the fear, hiding herself. But the symptoms grew stronger. Her body was changing. Her heart was restless. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard Evan's voice. "You matter." She hated how those words comforted her now. She hated that she wanted to see him, but she feared something even more. What would he say if he found out? Would he accept it? Would he run away? Would he blame her? Would he hate her? She couldn't take that risk, so she hid. Whenever she heard his footsteps in the hallway, she froze behind her door. Whenever he entered the cafeteria, she slipped out. Whenever she saw him from a distance, she turned away before he could notice. But her eyes lingered. Her heart pulled toward him with a gravity she didn't understand. One night, she saw him sitting alone in the dining hall, staring at a cup of cold tea. His shoulders were tired, his eyes empty. He looked like someone waiting for something that would never return. Ariel felt a pain deeper than any wound. She wanted to walk to him. She wanted to speak. She wanted to tell him everything. But fear locked her in place, so she walked away again. Her condition got worse. Her strength weakened. Her heartbeat grew irregular. She fainted twice in her room. She threw up during training. She struggled to stay awake during meetings. No one knew what was happening. No one suspected the truth. She kept telling herself, just a little longer. Just until I understand what this is. Just until I decide what to do. But the universe didn't wait for her. One afternoon, while inspecting a ship engine, a wave of pain struck her with sharp force. The world spun. Her vision darkened. Her legs buckled. She tried to steady. Herself failed. The last thing she heard before everything went black was someone shouting her name. Ariel. Evan's voice again. Always him. He ran forward, caught her before she hit the floor, and lifted her in his arms like she weighed nothing. She wanted to push him away. She wanted to deny everything. But her body surrendered to unconsciousness. Her secret surrendered to in the medical bay. The truth finally revealed itself loud, undeniable, impossible to hide. A child, a small heartbeat, a life created from a bond she refused to admit. A life she never planned, but already belonged to her. A life that connected her to the human she tried so hard to push away. Ariel was terrified, shamed, confused, overwhelmed, and above all, she felt something she had never felt before. She felt protective, but the universe wasn't done with her. Yet, because outside the medbay door, Evan waited, not knowing the truth, not knowing the child was his, not knowing his life was about to change forever. Ariel sat on the medbay bed, her fingers trembling lightly over her stomach. The heartbeat on the scanner was steady and small, too small to believe, too powerful to ignore. My child. Half human. She never thought such a thing was possible. She never imagined she would be the one carrying it. Outside the medbay doors, Evan paced back and forth, wearing grooves in the floor. His face showed every emotion, fear, worry, confusion, but one thing was clear. He cared, more than anyone else ever had. The doors finally slid open, and a nurse stepped out. She's awake. You may see her. Evan's heart raced, but Ariel immediately turned her face away when he entered. She didn't want him to see her weakness. She didn't want him to see the fear in her eyes. He approached slowly. Ariel. What happened? Are you hurt? Why didn't you tell stop? She whispered. Her voice was cold, but it was shaking. Evan froze. Then she said the words she never wanted anyone to hear. I'm pregnant. His breath left his body in one silent shock. Ariel closed her eyes, prepared for anger, rejection, fear, anything. But Evan moved closer. Ariel, look at me. She didn't. She couldn't. Ariel, look at me. Finally, she turned her head. Her eyes were red, but strong, always strong. Evan knelt beside her bed. Is it mine? She hesitated, then nodded. Evan closed his eyes, overwhelmed. Not scared, not angry, just struck by the weight of the truth. Ariel. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't know what to do, she whispered. Because your people will hate me. My people will hate me even more. Because this child is impossible. Because I am afraid. Evan reached for her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. You don't have to face this alone. But their moment didn't last. Because alarms rang outside the med-bay. The alien council had arrived. Soldiers filled the hallway. High-ranking elders stepped inside, their robes glowing with authority and judgment. They surrounded the medbay like Ariel was a criminal. The lead elder pointed at her. Ariel of the Starborn clan, you have broken the sacred rule. You have created life with a human. Her throat tightened. Her chest ached. She felt shame. She felt fear, but she lifted her chin anyway. It wasn't planned, she said, but it is my child. Your child threatens the balance between worlds. The elder shouted. Evan stepped forward before they could say more. No, he said firmly. It doesn't. The entire hallway fell silent. A human had spoken inside an alien council hearing. Evan stood between Ariel and the council, shaking but determined. The child is mine, he said. And if you punish her, you will punish me too. An elder sneered. You are a human. Your words hold no weight. Then take my life, Evan replied, voice steady. But do not touch her. Ariel's eyes widened. Her heart slammed against her ribs. He was willing to die for her, not because of duty, not because of rules, but because he cared. One elder whispered to another, shocked by his bravery. Another looked uncertain. Another turned away, unable to meet Evan's steady gaze. Evan kept speaking. You call humans weak, but weakness is running from responsibility. Weakness is letting fear decide everything. I won't let her stand alone. Now. Not ever. Ariel stared at him, her breath trembling. She had never been defended like this. Never protected. Never valued. She whispered his name. Evan. He turned to her. You matter. He said again. She broke. Tears she never allowed herself finally slipped down her cheeks. She stood from the medbed, walked forward, and took Evan's hand in front of everyone. The entire station gasped. Arielle looked at the council with steady eyes. I do not care about your judgment, she said. I choose him. I choose our child. The elders exchanged uncertain looks. The rule had never been broken before. No one knew what to do. But they saw the truth in front of them, the human who risked everything, and the warrior who chose him. Finally, the oldest elder spoke. We will allow this life to exist. But you both will face the consequences together. Ariel squeezed Evan's hand. Evan squeezed back. They accepted. Later, as the hallway emptied and the chaos faded, Ariel rested her head on Evan's shoulder for the first time. I never hated humans, she whispered softly. Evan smiled gently. I know. I hated how one human made me feel. Evan wrapped his arm around her, careful and warm. And now? Ariel placed her hand on her stomach, where the future quietly grew. Now, I'm not afraid. Evan smiled, tears in his eyes. Then let's protect this life, together. And for the first time in both their lives, two different worlds felt like one.